this video tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how you can take your very own custom house illustration and turn it into a laser cut product using your OMTech Laser. Some examples of how you would be using a custom house illustration: you might be making a custom shadow box. You could put the family's name and the established year on it. You might be making a custom house ornament, or you can even make a little set, have like a cute little keychain ornament, a little, piece of wall art or shadow box. There's a lot of different things you can do. So normally when I do my videos, I try to always use my own pictures, and I wanted to use my house for this, but we actually just got 3 feet of snow and a blizzard, so that wasn't happening in this case. I did end up finding a stock photo online that was free to use, so I am using that as a point of reference for this video. Now, keep in mind, house illustration can take a while. This took me about an hour and a half just to draw, so there will be a lot of editing, there will be a lot of, oopsies, so just be prepared. But I think the overall results are really, really nice. I think it makes a great gift. It's a great customized option for somebody. Now that I kind of covered what I wanted to cover, let's jump onto the iPad and get started with this project. Here I have the photo of my house, and I'm just going to come over here and I am going to click on the end and I'm going to lower the opacity. Select the brush that I want to select. And I'm going to actually just start by making straight lines. If you actually create a line and hold down, it's going to make a straight line for you. And then I just kind of start tracing the house. Now, if I want to, say, copy and paste a piece, for example, this pole, I'm going to come over here and use the selection tool, and I want to freehand it. And then I'm going to click copy and paste and bring it right over. I'm going to click flip horizontal. And then you are going to have to come in and start cleaning up your lines. Like, I don't need this over here, so I'm just gonna slightly finagle it. And because the way this is actually going to be converting to the laser, you don't really have to worry about it being too perfect. And again, I'm going to be using the same technique as I'm doing the siding and the roofing. And an hour and a half later, here we go. And again, you are going to have to do some cleanup. You're going to have to go in and erase some of the lines, especially if you're copying and pasting things, just like I've been doing. Another thing that I really like doing, because when I draw, I'm often drawing kind of sketchily, I guess you could say, is I like to go in and kind of stylize it for how I do my actual art. Most of the time, I am freehanding my houses. In this particular case, I'm showing people how you can actually trace a photo. Again, make sure that the photo is yours and you have the right permission to use it. But this is an example of how I would actually stylize my illustrations. As you can see, there are a lot of layers here. And I'm really loving how the stylized version looks. Now we're going to bring this over to LightBurn. So I am exporting this as a PNG. Now normally I do export it as a PSD, but in this case I'm going to try and directly do it right in LightBurn. And then I'm going to come over here to trace image. Now I have my vector art that I can size accordingly. Now I will make a note, I did try to create an offset to do the outline and the trim, and it crashed LightBurn twice. So I'm just going to move on over into Illustrator and bring one of my files in here, and I'm going to show you how I add an offset in Illustrator. So we got our image, and again, it's a similar function as to LightBurn. I'm going to come over here to image trace. then we're going to want to expand it. It's going to take a minute to do that. And then I'm going to actually select the white area, do a select all, fill color, which is going to be the white, and I'm going to delete it. Now we have our main shape. And I primarily work in Illustrator for most of my stuff, so if, I was originally doing this to begin with, I would be copying it right here and then pasting it right into LightBurn. But here we have the main image of the house. And then I'm actually going to come over here. I'm going to make a stroke, and I'm going to add quite a bit of a stroke to it here. And as you can see, some of the lines are jagged. That's okay. We're going to come over to our stroke properties, and we're going to curve it. So you're not going to see any of that. And there we go. I'm happy with that. And we're going to do path, outline stroke. And then I'm going to come over here and click this. And then we're going to unite it. And as you can see, now we have a nice little offset outline around our house. Now in this case, I'm actually going to be bringing it right into LightBurn. And it comes in a little bit smaller, that's okay. I'm just going to go take the measurements that I did in Illustrator and use that as a point of reference. You can see them right over here under the transform property. So I'm adding my text, and oopsie, so once you have your text and you have your original offset over here, it isn't gonna line up. So here is a little nifty trick that I use when I'm working with text and I'm adding it to an image like a house, an ornament, or whatever I'm actually working on. So I'm actually gonna copy and paste the text, as you can see over here, and I'm adding another little offset to it. And I am gonna want to ungroup it and kind of remove some of these little areas. Gonna group it back together because we want to make sure it's all selected. Yep. And then I'm just gonna kind of bring it over here and line it up. And then I'm going to click the outline that I have around the text and the actual house outline, and I'm going to merge it together. So we have both the stylized one, which I am going to intend to be more of a keychain, and then the non-stylized one, which is kind of just the plain line art, that I am going to put in a little tiny shadow box. Now I do have a new process here as far as my setup goes. I have my upgraded air assist. So I am going to be turning my compressor on. This is where the line runs downstairs. So now we're downstairs. You can see this is the air assist running to my laser. Now for the nozzle that I have right here, it is set to about 40. Now when it does run, it drops a little bit. So the standard PSI I see a lot of people recommend is about 25 to 30. So it does actually drop down to 30. And that is why it's a little bit higher up here. And once I'm happy with that, I'm going to turn my chiller on, let that run for a couple minutes, and then I'll be starting my machine. I am going to actually get my wood set up before I, get anything running. And again, I'm just using some magnets to hold my material down. This is 1/8 inch Baltic birch that I have on hand. And now I'm going to be turning my machine on. There we go. We always want to make sure that we check our focal height before we start any project. And I'm happy with that, so now I'm actually going to frame the job. And I'm sending it right to the machine. And I did notice with the upgraded Air Assist, my older settings are a lot lighter, so I wasn't happy with how light it actually came out, so I did actually run it through a second time to get a darker engrave. As you can see here, what a difference. I did have to spend a week testing just because all my settings have now changed, but in all, I'm very, very happy with the results here. Look at how clean that is. Like, it is so clean. I have my little shadow box here. You can get these from Michaels. I usually get them when they have their like big bundle sales. And you just have to, you know, pop the little backing of the frame right off like this. And it's just kind of like a plain cardboard. What I do is I take a piece of cardstock, whether it be white, colored, you can do a printed background, and I'm just going to be applying some double adhesive tape to stick the cardstock to the little cardboard backing. Now you can use other types of glue if you want. I'm kind of doing this because it's a temporary solution. If I do want to change it out in the future, it's easy enough to do. Then I'm going to press it against the cardstock that I have. I'm going to take my utility knife and I'm just going to trim the edges. And then you can place your house in the middle. You can use a hot glue gun, you can use, you know, like 3M, you could use a super glue. And I'm just gonna gently place it in the frame, hook the edges in, and there we have a cute little shadow box. And for the cute little matching keychain, I have my little tassel, my ring, and I have my jump hoop, and I have my little jewelry pliers. And just feed the jump hoop through the top and then attach it to the actual keychain itself, and you can simply close the fastenings with a pair of jewelry pliers and a little bit of strength. And I'm also going to do the same thing with the little tassel. And there we have it. We have our cute little shadow box and our matching keychain.